This conference will now be recorded.
Is Amit joining? Let's WhatsApp. Okay. He's joining in a minute. So any progress, Surya?
Sir, I was reading that book which you had mailed. So I
Okay,
was trying configuration from that.
okay. Good. Actually, that book is a very comprehensive book.
Okay.
You will be finding all the materials in a very short format. All the shortcuts are there.
Okay.
If you go through the official SAP documentation, that will be taking more time because those are very lengthy and means not difficult, but it will take more time.
Yes.
So you are part of any which payroll you told ADP previously?
Uh, I was in previous company. I was doing India payroll,
Okay,
but it was not SAP. It was different software, Precision and Ascent software. And then I did my SAP HCM certification. And
okay,
from last 1 year, I'm in Capgemini. So
okay.
last project it was UK payroll support.
UK payroll supported. Okay.
Yes.
So what kind of issues you were resolving there?
Mostly I got testing work. Means pre-patching, post-patching. I have done that. Means already
Oh,
last year's document was maintained, so I
mhm.
just followed that and did the testing for this year. And from
Okay,
some tickets also I have checked from my end,
okay. Good.
analysis type of.
So you are means aware of all the info types related to UK payroll reports,
Actually, sir,
checklist.
in the testing, it covered almost all scenarios. Like we had to check P45 report, P60 report. So
Mhm.
we had to enter that transaction code and see whether any error is coming or not.
Okay. Got it. Even I had done a similar thing in 2011-12 when I was with Wipro. I did for US payroll as well as UK payroll. That's during the upgrade after upgradation. So the patch upgrade and all. I did a lot
Yes.
those things. But which
Sir,
payroll you
actually, I
find
got
difficult?
configuration experience.
Sorry.
Many companies are asking for configuration experience, right? Like
Yes.
uh,
True.
implementation.
Hmm. So you are having implementation projects there.
I don't think so in Capgemini it is there because all
Yeah.
the projects mostly support only. Mostly
Mostly
support.
mostly support only. Yes, I have also seen my friends are working. They were telling the same. One of my friend he joined in Capgemini Noida. He is in Bangalore now. He moved to Noida, but he is working in Success Factor Employee Center.
The success factor, they don't give any job without experience. You know, so they
Yes,
just,
true.
uh,
Yeah.
because freshers they won't give job if they
Huh.
don't
Hi,
have
Amit.
experience.
Hi Amit, how are you doing?
I'm good. I thought you are not taking today. I just saw the
No
message.
problem. No. Actually, we are having some chit chat before you joined. Actually, I also spoke with Aditya, so they have also joined a little bit late. So I was waiting since 5 minutes before 10. So no
Okay,
problem.
okay.
Yeah. So we will start with today will be from today onwards. Next sixth session, I'll be going little bit slow because we are now in a critical phase of the payroll. That is our schema, sub schema. I'll be going slow. Okay.
Yeah, that is a important thing which
Yes.
We really need to learn.
Yeah. So I'll be going very slow compared, because the West type configuration, those are very easy compared to these things. But schema things, and I'll be going very slow. So we'll be starting with
See,
payroll schema
these
today.
concepts like factoring, averaging, and for
Ah,
example, if you're doing factoring, which particular PCR is doing what?
hmm.
I'm
That
referring
will be
HR 400 actually. You only have that, right?
uh. So we'll be having a dedicated chapter for factoring, dedicated chapter for valuations. So in details, we'll be discussing in that. Okay. And at the
Right.
same time, I'll be showing you how to copy a schema. So you can copy the standard schema and create your own schema. Make that ready with you. Once your employee is hired, already the PAOM configuration is stable, and also the waste type, little bit of standard waste type copy. Then we will be using the this payroll schema. Payroll schema copying is easy. So first we will be using the standard schema. Then as we proceed, we will be adding, keep on adding a little bit of custom sub schema custom rules into that. Okay. So we'll be taking all the baby steps. So for to achieve the entire thing. Okay. So
Okay.
yesterday we have seen that payroll calculation driver program that's basically the how to run a payroll, how to run a piece means simulation run, how to run your exact means live run. Then we have seen overview of the log. Okay, so that we have seen. Today we will be seeing. So I'll be showing more of a what is a schema, and okay, so what are the things inside schema. Okay, so basically a schema by definition, actually it contains all the functionalities of a country specific payroll. Okay, so schema by definition, by English meaning also, it is actually a schematic presentations or logical, it's a kind of a logical connection of all different rules, okay, combined and packaged together in a particular box. Okay, so that is just a generic concept of schema. And we have for each country, SAP provides the standard schema. Okay, so for UK payroll, the standard schema is G000. Similarly, for US, it is U000. Similarly, India, it is IN00. So, and for like international payroll, it is like X000. So, you have different kinds of generic schema actually provided by SAP. So, what we do generally, the payroll driver program, which we have seen earlier yesterday, so in that actually we execute the schema. So whatever the schema will be running, in the schema section we put that schema. Okay, so the custom schema generally we whatever we prefer, because the standard schema generally we don't use, but by copying the standard schema, we prepare our custom schema, then we edit whatever the things are required, then we do the editing in that particular schema. Hmm. So similarly, the next step is a schema can have multiple sub schema. Okay, so these are actually kind of a branches. So under say suppose say for UK payroll, for UK under UK payroll, we will be having a different schema sub schema for say for all kind of earning. Okay, so like for gross calculation, there will be a sub schema. There will be another sub schema for net calculation. Okay, so those sub schema actually, these are the different branches of the main schema. If the main schema is G000, we will be having different sub schemas for under this main schema of the UK payroll. Okay. So similarly, if I say you can't execute a sub schema independently. Okay. So here I have clearly mentioned sub schemas can be edited separately. Means you can edit. Suppose I want to edit something related to UK payroll related deduction specific to my company policies and all. Okay, so I can edit that sub schema independently. Okay, but independently I can't execute it unless and until that sub schema actually I'm going to introduce in my main schema. Okay, so that is a kind of, this is a concept here in sub schema. What is the data difference between sub schema and schema? Similarly, if you see under sub schema or schema, we'll be having a different types of functions. There is another concept called functions. Each schema or sub schema generally they consists of a lot of functions. Okay, so what is the function purpose of these functions? So basically, the functions they basically retrieve and process the all kind of data. Okay, so all kind of payroll data, whatever the things data is we are fed in the different info types or waste types in payroll. So basically they take care of all those things, so processing those data required for the respective processing step. So that is the concept of functions. But in general, if you see the schema library, okay, or schema editor, subschema and schema both they consider schema only. Okay, so there is no bifurcation of like if in the library, if you search schema, if you go to schema library, even the subschemas actually they are also four digit, and those are also called, means you will be able to identify those as schemas. There is no difference, but functionally they are different. Okay, subschemas can be edited separately and then can be customizing. I'll be showing you once I show the system, you'll be able to understand in a better way. Okay. That is the concept of schema, subschema, and functions. Hmm. Next, I'll be coming to the schema editor. Okay, so there is a transaction code that is your PE01. This transaction is basically used to for editing any kind of schema. Okay, so what are the different things you can do? So you can see the display the entire schema. You can take a printout of the schema. So what I did in my first payroll project in 2010. So in that time, actually, after going to the schema library, my manager asked me to take, as I was doing for the first time, to take a print of the schema directory. Okay, so I took the entire schema from the, at that time I was doing US and UK payroll. So I took both the download of both the schemas and I pasted in my cubicle actually. Okay, so I to have a complete reference. Okay, so you can take a printout of the schema, and also you can compare the schema source text. There are different codes actually. Okay, so that also we can compare. Suppose if you want to do a comparison of a standard schema and a custom schema, you can do the comparison. And also you can create different elements of the schema. So the elements of schema means it can be functions, it can be subschema, it can be rules. Okay, so that those are the different components of the schema elements. Okay, similarly you can transport one schema to another client. Okay, we can navigate between schema. Okay, so we can also access rules, personal calculations, your PCRs. Okay, all those things also can come under schema. So I'll be showing you. So these are the different functionality you can the activities you can do inside a particular schema by using this schema editor. And the transaction code is simply you have to remember PE01. Okay, that is the schema editor. So next as I was explaining, the main schema consists of many sub-schemas. Both schemas and sub-schemas can have different functions. Okay, so if I dig down further, under functions we have rules. Okay, so this is just a kind of you can remember, like under function you will be having different rules, and for each rule we will be having different operations. Operations means it can be addition, subtraction. So those are actually suppose I'm giving an example of arithmetic operations. Okay, plus, minus, division. Okay, multiplication. So inside rule you can have different many operations. So those operations will be discussing later. It can just, I'll be giving one example. If it is a add based type, it can be subtraction of a was based type. Okay, so those can be addition, subtraction. Those are kind of different operations that we'll be seeing later. Okay, so here actually this is a schema editor. So if I go to the schema, this is how a schema will be looking like. This is just a G000. That is your standard Great Britain or UK payroll schema. So you will be having under a particular schema, you will be having the three different sub objects. Okay, those are called source text. It can be attributes. It can be documentation. Okay, so it is suggested not to touch or change any standard schema. So it is advisable and it is a must. Okay, so whenever you are doing any implementation or during your implementation time, you always copy the standard schema. Then whatever the changes you have to do, the changes in the copied schema. Okay, so that is the must. So here actually just I have taken a screenshot. I'll be explaining in the system. Just I have taken a screenshot in the presentation so that I can share this presentation to you. Okay, so here I have compared two schema. Okay, so if you see, the left hand side is basically the UK payroll schema, that is a G000. Okay, so as I have told you, in the schema we'll be having different line items and the functions. Okay, copy, your LP bag. So what are these things we'll be seeing later on. Okay, So, and also we'll be having different parameters. There can be up to 4 parameters: pair 1, pair 2, pair 3, pair 4. Okay, so these are the different parameters. Okay, and what are the purpose of each? It is written in the text section. Okay, so this is actually the logic how to start the payroll to end of processing. We'll be seeing in one by one. In the right hand side, just for an example, I have given another country payroll, that is it is a schema of an US payroll. Okay, so just for you how it will be different, how the means it will in terms of the functionality, how it will be different, you will be able to understand only from the parameter section. So it will be seeing there are a lot of parameters which are starting. Okay, so US specific, so those are actually starting with U, but for UK payroll it is starting with G. So those are specific to UK payroll. Okay, so that is the, you can also identify from this schema that what are the different components. Okay, what are the things they do in the, this is basically summary, the abstract of the entire payroll. Okay, so how they do that I'll be explaining you when I jump into the system. Okay, so I'll be just showing you next part. This one also we will be seeing. So what are the different attributes? Okay, attributes means the properties of a particular schema. Okay, so here we have seen the three sections, right? First one is source text, second one is attributes, third one is documentation. So source text, you will be getting the entire algorithm. Entire algorithm, you can say, for a particular payroll. If it is UK payroll or a US payroll, the algorithm you can see in the source text. Okay, and in the attribute section you will be seeing the properties, who has created that schema. Okay, so as I have copied the standard schema, here you can see there is the person responsible, it is written SAP. Okay, so SAP has created this schema. When they have created, it is written in the administrative info. So they have created this in long back 1994. This is the first time they have created. Okay, and last they have changed in 2005 in the current system. So whatever the system we have been given, so they have changed in that. Okay, so here also you can see there is something called program class. So program class C. So if it is a program class C, it is actually payroll. There is another program class that is called T, that is in time specific schema. So you if you have worked on, or if you have any colleagues working in positive time management or negative time management, you'll be able to see there is a different schemas for time related schema also. Okay, so those are actually coming under program class T. Okay, so for payroll related program, those are covered under program class C. So here it is program class C, and country grouping is 08, as I have told you earlier. Great Britain means actually for UK payroll, the country grouping is 08. That is a MOLGA. We technically we call that as MOLGA, MOLGA. Okay. So if the schema can be executed, then it is ticked in these attributes. Okay. So that is an executable schema. Okay, so if a particular, if you are creating a sub schema or anything you are creating, if you don't want to execute till it is tested, okay, so you can untick it. Okay, so for the testing purpose. Similarly, there is a section called CE schema that is mostly we don't use. So that is, what is the meaning of CE? CE basically stands for concurrent employment. Okay, suppose there is if there is a scenario, one employee is working for two different organizations. So in that case, these kind of things are used, but I have not seen those kind of scenario. Okay, so in that case, it will be used this CE schema, but mostly I have not used. So that is the thing. So here also you can see the all the audit data, means who is responsible, who has created, and all this version and everything. So this is comes under your attributes. So this is the second section of a schema. First we have seen the source text. Second things we have seen the attributes. Attributes means all these properties and all. Third section is basically the documentation, but generally if SAP has maintained any documentation related to this particular that schema, then you will be able to see that. Otherwise it will be blank. Okay, so that is in different sub-subjects. So in the main schema we are having different sub-objects. So these are the three sub-objects we have. Okay, so that we will be seeing once we go to the system. So this is the process. Actually, I have given one exam screenshot that how to copy a schema from one schema to another schema, that I will be showing you by there is a copy option beside the delete. Okay, just go to the standard schema. Then you have to, there is an option called copy. You copy to your own schema. Like I have given my own example, like ZBT0, that is for G best travel 0. So for that schema, just you can give start with any or Z. Okay, so that you can create a schema of your own. Okay, after creating a schema, you have to give your name specific to your schema. So in the attribute section, actually what I have done, I have given a name for that, a meaningful name. Okay, so I have given a meaningful name called payroll schema for my organization, that is the best travel UK. Okay, so that I have given. As I have told, program class C, that is for payroll. Okay, so I have mentioned the C for payroll. Similarly, as I have already copied from UK payroll, so it is showing 08. And this schema can be executed. Okay, so I have ticked this tick option here. And I am not using any concurrent employments, so I have not ticked this. And this data will be automatically coming. Okay, so like person responsible, so I have used my user ID, so my user ID is coming here. Okay, so if you are ticking this changes only by person responsible, okay, if you are ticking this in the schema itself, then all other person in your organization or anyone in your team, they will not be able to edit this whatever the schema. Only you will be only able to edit that particular schema. Okay, so it is again up to you how you are going to use that, and if you want to restrict these changes to only yourself, then you can make this tick. Okay, if you don't want to anyone to change except you. Okay, so in that case you tick it. So this is regarding after customizing, means after copying a schema. So these are the things I can edit here. Okay. So next, I'll be coming to the source text. So once I copy the schema, so this is how the schema will be looking like. It will be in a it will be in a readable format as well as you can also editable format. Okay. So previously schema which you have seen, and it was a freezed one. Okay. The text code which you have seen, this was not editable. Okay. So to make it editable, once you copy it or make in a change option, okay. So here you can see it will be looking like this. Okay. So here there are different sections like line, function, parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, parameter 4, and D is basically it's a kind of commenting section. As you know, if you have worked on any kind of programming language, whether it is a C, C++ or ABAP, any programming language, if you want to comment some section, okay, so then we have some option there in those coding. Okay, similarly, so if you are coding means commenting that particular section, that part of the code or that part of the script will not be executed. Okay, so just like we comment some section in the C program or C++ or ABAP program. Okay, similarly here what we can do in the section D, suppose I am commenting, so here you can comment by a putting a star mark. Okay, so here I have put in the line number 120, I have put a star mark here. Okay, so here you can see it is actually turned into black color. Okay, the text is other part of this code, those are basically displayed in red color text. The part of text which I have commented, like in the section column number D, I marked with a star mark. Okay, so that part will not be going to be executed. So whatever the rule is written, that is a GREI related to travel expenses, that is not going to be executed whenever I will be running the payroll. Okay, so this is just for your information, just I have given this example. Okay, so this is the section of D, and text section is basically for your whatever the things you are doing in that particular payroll. So you can here you can change. So I have not changed anything. So here you can customize your name. Like here it is written June 99 4.6a. Okay. So here you can write the customer specific name, the client name or client who has changed or whatever the purpose of this particular line. You can make a comment here, and you can. It is a kind of a giving the program a name. Okay. So that things you can do and change here. Okay. This is just a part of a schema editor, and what are the things that are different for properties of the schema editor. So here whatever I've explained you, I have mentioned in this presentation. So first we have seen the line numbers. Okay, so line numbers means those are actually not a very sequential manner. If you see the line number, every schema has a line number of, has a gap of 10. Okay, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So they have given a gap of 10 so that in the future, if you want to add some sub schemas, you can add it easily and you can add a line item, say line number 11, line number 12. Okay, so in that way you can use. So for that reason, they have given every schema, the line item actually, those are not sequential. There is at least a gap of 10. Okay, so that is the reason they have given. Similarly, the function, the column in the schema screen, if you see functions, so functions are basically which is run if you have any ABAP program also in the background. If you want to carry out a specific instruction, okay, it can be like while executing reads is info types. Okay, so you can write some ABAP code and you can attach to it this function as well. Okay, so these are the different functions. Okay, so these functions can be used in the schema. Similarly, the parameter section, there are 4 types of parameters: parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, and parameter 4. So each function will be having a different parameter. So if you see, there is a function copy function here. There is a, here I have not given, say only parameter 1 is there. Okay, so there is a parameter called GT00 in the line number 110. Okay, so this one you'll be using for say gross payment. Okay, so here, so for that reason it is mentioned as GT00. Okay, this is one of the parameter. Okay, so if you want to add any other parameter also, if any, depending upon the business scenario, you want a particular line, you can add those parameters. So those parameter actually, depending on, these are will be having a different values related to the particular. Those are actually depending upon the particular function. Okay, so whatever the function you have in this particular column, the respective parameters will be interrelated. So in the same row, all the 4 parameters if you are mentioning, so those 4 parameters will be related to the function which is there in that particular line item. Okay, so that is the concept of parameter. Next one is D. I have already explained. So basically, if you are having an asterisk symbol in the particular column number D, so that means that particular line is basically commented. Okay, and it will not be during your execution, it will not be considered. Okay, so that is actually so for commenting the particular column for a particular line item. Wherever you are putting an asterisk, that will not be executed. Similarly, the last part is basically the text section. We mentioned what is the purpose of that particular schema line. So we have different lines of in this schema. So first line means, suppose it is line number 60. Okay, so what is the purpose of line number 60? What it does? Copy xi n0. So that is actually the initialize to all kind of payroll initialization. This parameter has been used. Okay, so similarly, the processing of basic data. So we'll be having a different parameter. Okay, so those are different parameters we have, and what is the purpose of that? That is written under this text section. Okay, suppose if you have written any custom rule inside that, if you want to mention that also, you can write a line item here, and you can clearly mention that is what is the purpose of that particular parameter inside that. So that is the overall concept of how to read a schema, how to copy a schema, and what are the different components of a, or what are the different columns of a schema. Then I'll be coming to this one we have seen, like editing of a schema. So this one again.
What was that command line?
Sorry?
The command line on top of the schema.
Okay, got it. So basically command line, basically this is actually used for giving any kind of a command. So it will be going to the particular command. For suppose you are giving any particular command, it will go to the respective command line, line number 2, line number 3. You will directly jump into that. Okay, that we will be using that. Okay, so here actually whatever the schema I have been given, I was not able to use command line for some reason. Okay, so I'll be checking that. So for that reason, I have not taken that screenshot of that command line. Okay, but in my current the system you are using in the organization, so I was able to use this command line. Okay, that is the purpose of the command, and you can stack that also. But due to some reason, in this schema, whatever I have been given, so it was not working. So I need to check that. But actually, it is not that much significant effect on your payroll. Okay, so main line starts with your line, actually the line starting with line to last end of the selection. Any other questions you have? Amit, Sweta. Now,
So
otherwise, I'll be going to.
basically, you can write something and it will go to that particular line, the stack. Some like stack,
Yeah,
LIFO, FIFO.
not exactly in the data structure part you have studied, but actually I have not never used that. So this stack and the command line, mostly
Okay.
whatever the changes I have done in this rules, functions, whatever the things I have done. But due to some reason they have deactivated, or actually I was not able to use this command line due to some reason. I need to figure it out. Okay, and I will let you know why I was not able to. Even I was not able to add a line here also in the schema which I have been given. So I'll check that. I'll get back to you. But in the meantime, you just try to copy your standard schema that is from G000. Okay, and we will be adding that. Keep that ready with you, and whenever I'll be telling you to once your system is ready for, like, you have your own employees and your own organization, own payroll area, and then we will be start using that. First, we will be using the running the standard schema without any changes. Then we will keep on adding complexity. Okay, so we will not be directly jump into the complex solutions because it will be creating a lot of confusion for understanding. So first we will be executing the standard one. Then we will be keeping, I will be giving different scenarios, at least 10 scenarios I'll be giving. So which are the commonly asked, most of the organization use those functionalities. Okay, so then I'll be asking you independently to execute you. Okay, I'll be also showing in the system. Okay, so then we will be going through in details. What if any, what are the challenges we'll be facing, what are the errors we'll be getting. Okay, so those things we'll be getting. We'll be resolving those things for running a payroll. So again, little bit of theory again. So which I have explained earlier, like any functions, rules, and operations. So I'll be going in detail. So functions basically, those are used to read the different info types. So we have different info types for every employees. Okay, and those are actually used for reading the info types in schema and sub schemas. Okay, and also they can perform the basic tasks like printing or ruling or executing a particular rule. Okay, so we have different functions like copy and block and all, so that we'll be seeing in the demo. Similarly, rules, basically those are actually used for all the calculations. Okay, so the calculation in the sense, so calculating and manipulating any specific waste types. Okay, so whenever we'll be discussing the rules, so we will be discussing the inside, we'll be exploring the sub schemas. Okay, so similarly, just like schemas, the rule can start with, here actually I have just given you, basically it will be G. So I'm just adding another letter, G for UK payroll. Similarly, U for US and X for international. Okay, that will be seeing how the custom rule we can do custom while creating a custom rule. We'll be seeing how these are actually written. That we'll be seeing in the latter part. Okay. Similarly, operations, as I have told you, the whatever the rules you are writing inside the calculation or manipulation of the wage types, we use all kind of mathematical and logical processing rules, processing operations. Okay, so to give an example, it can be multiplication, it can be division, it can be percentage calculation. Okay, or wage type writing. So to just give an example, suppose you are doing a calculation on HRA. Okay, suppose it is a 30% of your another your basic wage type. Okay, so those kind of percentage calculation, multiplication, division. Okay, so those kind of calculation will be happening inside the operations. Okay, and those operations are basically used by the rules. Okay, so under rules comes your operations. So operation is the last line item. So whenever you are executing anything in the schema. So next, actually the simple the transaction code, these four P codes you have to remember. P01, 02, 03, 04, that actually I maintained sequentially. But P03 is not directly related to these things. Okay, P03 basically maintain all kind of features. Okay, so at till now we have seen one feature, that LGMST, or one feature, tariff feature. I think one of the features we have seen in the first session. Okay, we'll be exploring other features as we go move on. And how those features will be working. Okay, that also we'll be seeing. So basically the P code P01, that is for schemas and sub schemas, both use the same transaction code. So all the rules can be configured under P02. And similarly, the functions and operations we can see in the transaction code PE04. Okay, so that we'll be seeing today. Then again, as I have already told you, the golden rule of in any SAP configuration, never modify the SAP delivered schema or SAP delivered objects, whatever they are given. Okay, so to give any customer specific name, you copy that and you actually start with a Z. Okay, so we can give the specific name to the particular schema, whatever you are going to PS, that you can do that. So these things also I have given. So this is just an example attributes I have given in details. So what are the schema while reading an administrative data of a schema? We use payroll for C program class, T for time management. And these are all a little bit of theory, and we will be seeing one of these reports. Okay, to these are some standard reports to execute a particular schema. I'll just executing one side done. So next I'll be jumping into the system. I think I have to log in again. So I think it's a timed out, session timeout. So the transaction code for schema editor, that is PE01. So here you can see there are three sections: source text, attributes, and documentation. So first I will show you the standard schema. So in the source text, you will be getting the entire, you can say it's entire schema where you can see the command. So here actually I was trying to do anything, so I was not able to stack anything here. I think it is navigation, showing us something called navigation stack is empty. I don't know. I need to figure it out. But here the main functionality is under this functions parameters and whatever through this parameter inside the parameter whatever we are having. Okay. So in the line item, so here you can see first one is the activate P003. So basically that is for info type 3 activation. So info type 3 that is for your payroll status. It will check all the info type for all employees that will be activated in the initial. Okay, then little bit of command lines here, then you will be able to see the initialize section. Okay, so this line, at this line the initialization of the payroll happens. So suppose somebody by seeing the schema also you will be able to see the entire workflow or entire steps or the step by step what the process happens, how the payroll processing happens inside a schema, that also you can understand. So it's starting with initializing from the payroll, then processing of the basic data. It is taken care by GVD0, this parameter. Okay, so processing of the basic data means it can be your basic info types, your info type 8. So if any case of any transfer happen, in any promotion happens, if any all those changes, those will be under this rule. This it will be processed. Similarly, you will be having a different line items for multiple employment initialization, be it last payroll results. So these are different step-by-step process. Okay, like if you're having any loan for eligible employee who have taken the loan, there will be loan calculations. Okay, so similarly, you will be having a factoring, all kind of factoring and benefits deduction will be happening here. Once it is done, then there will be an iteration. So whatever it will be iterating all the whatever the payroll processing data, then it will be save those, then it will be calculating all kind of deductions. Okay, so first it will be calculating this thing, then you'll be having a deduction, then it will be calculating all your gross to net, all the GB gross to net means UK specific gross to net calculation will be happening here. Okay, then again it will be recheck whether all the deduction has happened or not. Okay, so it will be again check. So then in the end loop it will happen. So this loop will continue till all the master data, all the related data means process happens. Okay, then finally you will be having a section called retroactive calculation. So is there any change in the past payroll results, the previous months, any of this previous month? Then it will calculate all the retro calculation. Okay, so then it will be net deduction and then the bank transfer. What is the amount, the net pay? It will be happening to the bank. That will be processed here. Then it will be complete the entire payroll cycle. This is just to be a brief how a payroll entire process works for a particular schema. By seeing this series of all these line items or texts, you can understand, even if a layman can understand what are the things happening inside this, except a few terminologies like begin loop, end loop. Okay, otherwise you can understand what are the entire flow you can go through, and you can understand for any payroll schema, standard schema. If you go through, then you can understand this schema. Then here in this schema, if you see, go here, so here you can see there are a lot of options here. Okay, like different schema. If I click different schema, if you want to see, go to another schema. Suppose I want to go to Indian schema, IN00. In the same page, I can see I just now navigated to an Indian payroll schema. Okay, so same. If I, instead of going back, that I can go to this different schema, and I can go to jump into another schema. Suppose I want to see U000, that is an US payroll standard schema. So it will take me to the US payroll schema. So instead of going back in the same page, you can navigate between one schema to another schema. This is just a functionality. And next option is change the display. Suppose if you want to edit something, then it is not suggested, so it is not never ever open this standard schema in edit mode. Okay, so by chance if any changes happening, again it will be impact a lot. So similarly, we'll be having a check option here, whether if any custom schema, if any after writing a schema or changing any schema, whether it is a syntactically it is correct or not, that you can check. Okay, so as I have checked the standard schema, in the top, in the bottom side, you can see the schema is okay. If it says green with okay, then the schema is correct. Okay, logically it is correct. So that thing also we can check it here. So what I am going to do now, I'll be showing to copy, how is this copy is done. Okay. So I've taken the standard schema. So there is the options here. So this option or shift F4 you can click. So if I copy that, there will be pop-up. Okay, from schema to schema. Okay, so here I can copy to a new schema. Suppose I am creating a ZBT, which I have already created, 0, and I'll be creating a ZBT1. So once it is actually configuration change, so it will lead to a transport request. Okay, so once the transport request has been created, it will take you to the next screen. So it will say the schema has been copied. So the G000 has been copied. Now you can change what are the changes required. Okay, so what is the first change I need to do? So that I will be changing. So the payroll, the original schema name, it will be copying. Okay, so first I need to change my text, the naming or name of the schema, so that I can go and change in the attribute section. So I'll go to the attributes, I'll click change. I will say, so this is my payroll schema for best travel UK part 1, or I can say A1, session 1. Just I have given a dummy name here, means just a, but session 1 because I have already created, but it will not read. So basically, for an understanding, this should be very clear and meaningful name you should give. Okay. So here again in the attribute section, by default it will be copying, that is C. Okay. So if you see the drop down here, you can see the both. There are two types of program. So it is always related to payroll. So there is a C, there is a T option. T is for time management, C is for payroll. Okay. So you use C for payroll, and those things will be automatically copied. Don't have to worry about it. And country grouping also, as we have copied from UK payroll, it will be 08 always. Okay. Schema can be executed. It should be always tick. Okay. So as I have used my UK payroll user ID, so it is showing by default my name will be written. If you want to restrict to yourself, then you can tick it. Okay. So after doing these changes, just you need to save it. So I'll click yes. Again, it will lead. So what are the changes we are doing? Actually, it is a transport request. So it is always suggested do all the payroll related configuration in a particular transport request. Okay. So unless and until if you are not working in a support project during an implementation, it is always suggested put everything in a particular single transport request. Okay. So once it is done, then I'll go to my source text section. Today I will not be changing anything. So you can also create a similar schema for your purpose. Okay. Then in the coming sessions, we'll be doing the changes, whatever the changes required. Okay. So here I can do what I can do. I'll be giving a new name here. Say, so here also you can see the different lines. So now it will be all the sections can be in a editable mode. Okay. So you can edit anything in this custom. This custom schema is all yours. Okay. So you can add functions, you can add parameters. So you can also change any text you want to add. So here what I can do, suppose I want to add any lines here. Suppose here I can go to edit, add empty lines. Okay. So I want to add any empty lines. It will ask how many lines you want to add. I can mention, suppose I want a 3. Okay, so after this 260 line number of 260, it will be giving me 3 options to add. Okay, so there are the different line items you can add. Okay, how to add any line items. Okay, so I can go to position. Suppose I want to go to particular line item, say 000 110. So it will directly start, it will take me to the particular line item. Okay, so for any line item, if you want to go and do anything, so it will take me a particular line item 0. Okay. Actually there is a command line that is not working for me. That is basically there is a I option. So if I click I here, actually it is editing I here, but ideally it will insert a line. Similarly, if I click D, it should delete a particular line, but this function actually it is not working in my system. I need to figure it out why it is not working. Okay. So otherwise those shortcuts are also there, but otherwise you can use these functionalities. Whatever this functionality is here, you can use this. Okay. So here I'm getting this option navigation stack is, and this one also I need to figure it out why this is not working. Similarly, if you want to go to any particular position is basically it's a line similar to line only 00120. Again it will more or less similar only. Okay, so those are the different these functions. You just after going after this, so tomorrow you can check all these, what are the things you can do. You can play it around. So what are the functionalities are there. Okay, how it will be, you'll be getting a free hand on this. So what are the things you can do. So once it is done, you can check whether your syntax is correct or not. Okay, so now it is showing, because I have not added anything, I've just added 3 blank lines here. Okay, so I have not added any changes, so it is showing say ZBT1 schema, that is okay. Okay, that means my schema is correct. Otherwise there is a options here. So here there is an option called check. Okay, check or F6 button here also. By clicking this, you can check whether your syntax is correct or not, schema syntax is correct or not, that you can check it here. Okay, so other than that there is a compare option. So before that, let me compare. If I want to compare with a standard schema, so say G000, compare text as well. Okay, so if I tick here, it will compare both the schema. Okay, so here what are the changes if you are doing. So in the last section you can see, so the following lines were changed. Okay, so first one, actually the first characteristics of a schema editor, that is a ZBT1 payroll schema. Second one, if you see in the attribute, these are all actually the UK payroll standard. Okay, by seeing the date and user ID, you can identify which is the standard and which is the custom. And in the last section, you can see the following lines were changed. Like line number 4, actually I have changed that line item. Okay, it is best travel schema training I have written. Okay, so you can, by this way you can compare. So we don't have to, suppose if you are copying from a standard, if you want anytime you want to compare, by this way you can compare two schema. Okay, this is actually used for executing comparison. Okay, so once it is okay, then there are some other functionality as well. I will show you. You can save after doing any changes to schema. You just save, and every save it will take to transport request. Okay, so now schema is saved. Okay, so now what I can do in this schema, I can generate. Generate actually is not directly used. So generate is basically whatever the changes if you are doing, if you are adding any sub schema. Okay, so then every time you have to generate this so that this schema will be active. So what are the sub schema you have added, that will be activated, and again after that you have to run this check functionality whether your syntax is correct or not. So that is the functionality of a generate. Next one is the print. Okay, suppose if you want to take a printout of your schema, so it will be looking like this. Okay, so ZBT1, this is my schema, so there will be a print option here. Okay, so if I click print here, it will ask as you know, so whatever the output device you have, and you'll be able to take a printout of that. Okay, depending upon your output device and all. Okay. So that is the concept, and there is a section called expand. If you want to detail level of schema to be take print, okay, so then you can take an entire schema printout. Suppose if you want to take only the overview schema, or if you want to see only the overview schema, then you unclick. There is an expand and unexpand option, undo expand. Okay. So if you are expanding all the details, okay, so entire in the payroll schema, what are the different sub schemas are there? So entire page you will be getting. So inside function, so all this functionality. Okay, so this is the entire schema. You can see it. So for all under sub schema also we have not seen now. So what are the rules are written? What is the purpose of each parameter? Okay, so entire schema you can take a printout. So what I did in my first project, as I was mentioning you, I have taken this printout and I kept it in my cubicle for my reference, and it took me for at least 2 months to understand the entire schema. What are the ways? I was a fresher at that time. So, but it will be rapid for you. So these things actually will be able to understand once we go ahead. So first one is this is the main schema. If you expand that, or what are the underlying functions or rules are written, those will be also, you can identify that. Okay, so that is the concept of printing or understanding the schema. Other than that, those are basic functionality like transporting. Okay, these are actually for means anyway. Transport means basically the transport request. Okay, so you can transport once you have changed any schema. If you want to move into the production, you can ask your basis team. Those are the things we can do, and just to explore, you just, as I have told you, most of the functionalities I have covered for a standard schema and how to copy schema, what are the different parameters, functions, okay, how to read a schema. This is just a basic overview. Okay, other than that, those are basic things. Okay, so today what you can do tomorrow, so you can start, you can make a schema of your own, copying the standard G000 and keep it ready. We'll not be using the standard as soon as now. Once you are ready with your all the hiring data, all your wage types are configured, and those are manipulated, or those are actually given permissible under input type 8, 14, 15, whatever the things you are going to use, then we will be going to running a simple payroll for a standard schema. Okay, so till now I have not gone into any custom thing. Okay, so the standard schema will be executing, then we will be going in depth of each functionality. So that's all for today. Any questions, Amit and Shweta, you have?
Not much actually. I think basically start.
Okay, so this is just a basic overview. Today I have not gone very deep. Okay, so this is just a layer one. So in the next 5, today is day 6. Okay, so next 4 to 5 session I'll be covering schema only, as it was a common expectation of your both. Okay, so I'll be go deep dive into that. Okay, then we'll be slowly start executing. I'll be giving you different scenarios, and I'll be asking you guys to execute, and don't scared of any error. Okay, so whatever the errors are good for your learning. So initial days I also did a lot of mistakes in the payroll run. Okay, that is good to
So
learning.
do we have a separate schema for UK for in case of concurrent or multiple employment, or is only G00?
Sorry,
Do we have a separate
sorry,
schema?
I didn't get you.
Do we have a separate schema for concurrent employment?
Concurrent employment, actually you can use that clicking that CE option. Okay, but here actually if you go to, there is another option here. If you go to the schema and if you try to see that all the schema, there is a by country grouping also you can find out. This is a schema directory actually. Okay, so if you execute 08 here, putting 08 if you want to execute, and if you want to execute only the standard schema, so in this schema directory, it is you can find out all the schema as well as sub schema. As I was telling you, schema directory is not only meant for schema, so it is all also for your sub schema. So here you can see there is a UK specific that is just standard schema, that is the main G000. Okay, and what are the things? Those are actually the sub schemas. So all the specific schemas for this payroll for the sub schemas also you can find it out under this particular schema directory. So here we have factoring, storage. So these things also we'll be exploring in details. Okay, which is used and which is not. Okay, there actually it's a vast actually. So if you see the schema, actual the payroll complication starts from the schemas only. Up to before schema there is nothing. Okay.
Yeah, you can just run it.
Yeah. Sure. You don't have any questions, Sweta?
So right now I do.
Okay, okay. So you start with the basics as you are doing basic things. So you go through that particular book which I have shared you. Okay. So both of you go through because that is easy to follow, because there are so many books in SAP help also, but that is actually just easy to follow, and in a small short time you will be able to execute everything. And as we proceed, we will be seeing the coming session. We'll be proceeding.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
mostly in schemas, we have to copy the existing schema and make changes in that only. Na? We cannot create a new schema because we have to create each and every line, right?
Yes,
Means
yes.
what is the
Actually,
common scenario, like copying from the existing schema which is made for that country and
yes,
editing
yes.
in that, or creating new one?
No, we don't create. Though there is an option, if you go to the schema editor, there is an option to create as well. But we don't because it will take a lot of effort. If you start creating a schema of your own, there is an option to create option. Okay. So if you start creating a particular schema, it will be a long actually long step. Okay. So again, it will take you to the same step. Means directly or indirectly, it will ask for which country you want to edit. So it's an indirect way of doing creating a schema. Ultimately, you'll be copying from some payroll only. Okay. So instead of that, I will suggest to directly, why don't you copy directly in the first step itself? Okay. So in the generally we copy the scheme standard schema, and what are the changes we require, we do the changes in that particular custom schema. Okay. Any other questions you have, Sweta?
No, sir.
Okay, then we'll wind up today for now. Okay. So see you on again Saturday.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Chalo,
Good night.
bye. Good night. Good night.